Luke 6:38, the verse we keep getting wrong. You've done the math in your head, probably this week. If I give this, what do I have left? If I say yes to that person, what does it cost me? If I'm generous here, am I going to come up short somewhere else? We've all run that calculation, and honestly, it feels responsible. It feels like stewardship. But then you read Luke 6:38, and Jesus says something that sounds almost reckless. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. And here's where most people stop reading and start treating this verse like a spiritual ATM. Put $1 in, get 10 back. That's not what's happening here. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's just think about the logistics for a second. Jesus is preaching what scholars call the Sermon on the Plain, Luke's version of the Sermon on the Mount. He's talking to a crowd of everyday people, farmers, fishermen, people who know exactly what a measure of grain looks like. So when he says, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, he's not being poetic for the sake of poetry. He's describing how a generous merchant fills a grain basket. First, you press it down. You pack it tight so there's no air. Then, you shake it. The grain settles, and suddenly there's room for more. Then you keep pouring until it's running over the sides. That's not a precise transaction. That's excessive. That's, I'm not counting energy. Did you catch that? The image isn't a scale. It's not even. It's not fair. It's abundance spilling everywhere because the person giving the measure refuses to be stingy. And Jesus says, that's how it works with you too. But here's where we need to slow down, because the next line changes everything. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. That little word, measure, in the Greek is metron. It means a standard, a rule, a portion. And Jesus is saying, the standard you apply to others, that's the standard that comes back. Now, this is where the prosperity gospel crowd runs off the rails. They'll tell you this means give $1,000 and God will send 10,000 back. And look, I'm not saying God can't bless your finances. He absolutely can. But read the verses right before this. Jesus is talking about judging others, about forgiving, about mercy. Verse 37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Then, immediately, give, and it will be given to you. The context isn't a fundraising pitch. It's a relationship manual. Jesus is describing a way of moving through the world where you stop measuring, stop calculating, stop keeping score, and just pour out. That's the measure. Your whole posture toward other people. So here's the question we all actually want answered. What comes back? And I need to be honest with you. Because I make videos for people who are walking through real things and looking for what God actually said. The return Jesus describes isn't always in the same currency you gave. You give mercy, you receive mercy. You give forgiveness, forgiveness finds you. You give generosity, and somehow, in ways you can't engineer, provision shows up when you need it. Not always in cash, sometimes in a door opening, sometimes in peace you can't explain, sometimes in a person who shows up at exactly the right moment. That's the pressed down, shaken together, and running over part. It's not a one-to-one transaction. It's excessive. It's disproportionate. It's God doing what only God can do. Taking your small, open-handed yes and turning it into something that spills over into every corner of your life. Now, let's keep going, because there's one more thing you need to see. The measure you use. It's not just about what you get back. It's about who you become. When you live with a clenched fist, everything feels scarce. Every gift is a loss. Every act of generosity is a subtraction. You become smaller, more anxious, more calculating. But when you live with an open hand, and I mean genuinely open, not "I'm giving so I can get" open, something shifts in you. You start seeing abundance you missed before. You start trusting that the God who fed 5,000 with a couple of fish can handle your math problem. The miracle isn't just what comes back to you. The miracle is the kind of person you become when you stop measuring. Worry is not a character flaw. It's not a sign that you don't trust God enough. It's a signal that you're carrying something you were never designed to carry alone. And Jesus says, let it go. Open your hands. Give. Not because God is broke and needs your help, because you need to become the kind of person whose hands are open. So here's what I want you to hear today. The measure isn't about the amount. It's about the posture. A clenched fist, even holding a lot, receives nothing. Open hands, even holding very little, have room for what God wants to pour in. If this hit something you needed to hear today, do me a favor and hit that like button. It actually helps more people find this video when they need it most. And subscribe. I make videos for people who are walking through real things and looking for what God actually said. I'll see you in the next one.